Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Backstage Bimbo TV. My name is Allison Rouse, your most notorious groupie, and author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie, me. Sorry, I don't have one of my books with me at this moment. I am in the process of moving, as you can see behind me. Things are disappearing. So, I packed everything up. Went on a packing frenzy for a couple days, and so I will put pictures of everything for today's vlog at the end of the video. And you're going to want to stick around because today's Cocktails and Rocktails, we are revisiting one of rock and roll's most notoriously sexy metal gods, Glenn Tipton of Judas Priest. So, and for that, we are going to have a cocktail today called Who's Your Daddy? You'll find out why. So everybody, grab your daddies, kick up your feet, and let's have a little cocktails and rocktails. Shall we? Cheers, big ears. Okay. So, this is going to be in 2002. I cannot remember right now if it was August 2nd and 3rd and 4th or the 12th, 13th, and 14th. It was after John passed away, but before the press got a hold of me. So, I had seen Glenn a couple of times since we had met in January. As I said, the previous vlog on Glenn, we met in January of that year, set up by one of the roadies. So, we'd kind of been seeing each other, of course I was seeing John as well. That happened. Rumors were going around. I had been really hiding. I'd gone out of the United States for a few weeks, come back, was still hiding from the press, but when Glenn called, of course I'm going to go see him. And he didn't know. Of course, he was friends with John. They shared the same management. They actually recorded some solo stuff that he released years later with Cozy Powell and John Entwistle. So he was very close with John. And this will play into this night. Crazy, crazy night. Oh, God, I wanted to beat that man. Not really, but you know what I mean. Just because they're rock stars doesn't mean they're not frustrating, folks. They're men. So they get in town the night before. Everybody, Glenn calls me. We meet over at the Hard Rock, even though they're playing at the House of Blues and staying at the Mandalay Bay. Where do we always meet? The Hard Rock. Everybody loved the Hard Rock. That's why I didn't go anywhere else for years and years and years in Vegas the whole time. So we meet over there. I can tell Glenn's kind of antsy. My best friend, Cousin Amy, is going to meet up with us in a little bit. And he's we're ordering drinks, we're talking. He's really, when we see each other, we hug, we kiss. It is obvious that he and I are together. Like, he would sit in a chair and pull me between his legs, a bar stool, pull me between his legs and have his arm around me. And I'd be, have my arm on his leg or something, whatever. So I'm ordering my champagne, we're talking, we're catching up. I'm avoiding everything. And you can tell and he even said something that, wow, it's kind of weird being here because, my friend just died here. And one of the roadies, the drum tech, Walt, I don't even remember what I said back to Glenn, but Walt saw my face and he knew right then and there. Glenn didn't, but Walt did. Glenn would find out later because as we're sitting there, there's this group of girls that come up behind us. Just kind of real plain Jane, moved there from Wisconsin kind of girls, right? In like black work pants and a little sweater, thinking they're all cute, going out, whatever. But anyway, so Glenn's kind of pestering me, let's get wild tonight. Let's go back to the swingers club. Let's go. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go back to that swingers club. Don't want to. If you want to go, go. I'm not stopping you, but I'm not going. Plus, Cousin Amy's meeting us here. So he goes over, he starts talking to these girls. I don't think anything of it. Walt comes over to me, the drum tech, and he's like, holy shit, girl. He's like, was that face what I think it was? And I was like, just shh. Even though everybody around the Hard Rock, who obviously knew me and sure as hell knew it was me, was being quiet. Glenn was just like, I can't believe how people treat you here. You're like a goddess. And they know more about me than you do right now, honey. So there was some party going on by the pool. And as Glenn is talking to these girls, he comes over. He's like, I'm going to go out to the pool with these girls for a few. I'll be back in a half an hour. No, sweet pea. You go out to the pool with those girls. I won't be here in a half an hour. Not even. And he's like, wait, baby. He's like, it's not like that. He's like, I'm with you. He's like, you're my kind of girl. You're my girl. I'm with you. And I was like, well, then if you're with me, you're going to keep your ass here. He's like, well, would you get me some cocaine? Oh, Jesus Christ. Are you really fucking asking me for this fucking cocaine after John, knowing his friend just died, who did one line of cocaine and had a heart attack? Glenn did not have the same heart condition as John did. Let's preface that. And he had passed the physical tour, or the tour physical rightfully, and not by the doctor kind of blowing the heart condition off, like John. So I make a phone call to a friend. I don't usually get coke. I think this was the second time in my life, besides AC/DC in Salt Lake City, that I actually got cocaine for someone, because like I said, it's not my drug of choice. So I called my weed dealer. He's like, yeah, I can get it. D comes over. Hey, D. Hey, Adrian. I love this too. But he comes over, brings it to, I'm like, here, he's here, Glenn. They go off to the bathroom. And Dee's like, holy shit, I just met the guy from Motley Crue. Because he's not into heavy metal, so he didn't know. Then, while they're in the bathroom, Cousin Amy comes. Well, Glenn comes out all energized and refreshed. And he's like, let's go out to that party by the pool. And I was like, do you want to go? I'm like, all right, Amy. I'm like, he's being a handful tonight. And Amy did not like Glenn. This is the first time she was meeting him. Cousin Amy hated Glenn. Hates him to this day. And I was just talking to her like a week and a half ago and talking about Glenn. And she's like, it was those damn white jeans. Oh, I hate Glenn's white jeans. He always had these white jeans. Always wore white jeans for the longest time. 70s rockers in their white damn jeans. I said it before. So we go out. So he introduces, I introduce Amy and Glenn, and she's just like, yeah, nice to meet you. Hey. Yeah. So we go out to the pool. He sees those girls. I'm going to the bathroom. Cousin Amy's, at a table with Glenn. I come out. He's over there talking to those girls that had talked to him at the bar. And he's like, hey, this is. So I walk over, and he's like, hey, this is my girl, Allison. And he introduces me to the girls. And they all kind of get this confused look on their face when he says, this is my girl, Allison. I'm like, and he's like, oh, I got you and Amy some champagne and blah, blah, blah. So Amy and I grab our champagne. He's sitting there talking to these girls. And these girls are just hoo-hawing all over him. Just, star-fucking him all the way. Because that's who these girls are. Probably the only rock star they've ever met in his life. And I think the girl's name was Natalie or something. And so Natalie comes over and she's like, so, are you with Glenn? Playing one of those girls, like, trying to kiss my ass. Hey, girl. So, are you and Glenn, together? And I'm like, we've been dating since January. I said, my personal life is not your business. I said, but the only business you need to know right now is to back the fuck off me. And Cousin Amy was coming right over. She's like, yeah, if I were you, I would do what she says. And Glenn's like, everybody okay here? And Cousin Amy looks at him. She goes, no, you're a fucking asshole. She's like, you're treating my friend like shit tonight. She's like, I don't know what the fuck your problem is, but you're a fucking asshole. So Amy and I walk off. And Glenn stays at the table. I'm like, fuck you then. And we start talking to these guys. They're like, oh, let us order you a drink. And so Glenn's watching me like a hawk. He comes up, and so he watches those guys we're talking to go grab drinks for Cousin Amy and I. Bring them back. One guy has his hand on my shoulder and is all talking to me while he's handing me my drink. Ooh, Glenn. He came over like a beeline. Made a beeline for me. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, same thing you're doing. Talking. Couldn't say anything back to me because we're not really a couple, but this goes back to the road rules. There's many, many rules that go with this whole no strings attached thing in rock and roll. You don't ever leave your man. And right now, no. It goes same for the groupies. You don't ever walk away from your groupie if you want her to stay with you. You walk away from her, bye bitches. I don't take that from any man. So Glenn gets in a kind of a tizzy, and Cousin Amy comes up. She's like, come on, let's go. And I was like, yeah, I think we should go. And she just looks him up and down. She's like, God, she's like, you're such a scumbag. She's like, you're an asshole to my friend. You don't deserve her. And she just turns around and walks off. She's like, I hate you. I think that was the last thing she ever said to Glenn Tipton. She's like, I hate you. So she goes walking off, and I'm like, bye. I set my drink down. I tell the guys, thanks for the drink, bye. And they're like, holy shit, what are we watching? Because here's this legendary rock star fighting with this woman he introduced as his girl. So as we're walking out, all of a sudden behind me, I hear, Allison, no, wait. I'm with you. Allison, I'm with you. So he comes running across the pool area, comes up, grabs my hand, flips me around and goes, baby, I'm with you. I'm leaving with you. And this is all because he was doing cocaine. And the cocaine, he was on, when guys do cocaine, they get on that, ego pony as it is. The cocaine ego pony. Now imagine a rock star doing the cocaine. That's no pony, honey. That's the whole kit and caboodle in the Queen's fucking cart with the horses and the feathers kind of cocaine party. I don't deal with it. And Glenn hadn't seen this side of me yet. And this is the first night I see this side of Glenn. So he grabs me, just leaves those girls in the dust. Well, my friend Oris will come into play on that one later. I love you, Oris. So anyway, we go back to the center bar. We have another drink, and Glenn has me between his legs. He's sitting in, he's all antsy from doing the coke. He's like, well, let's go back to my hotel now. I was like, okay, fine. Because I was just pissed. I was like, but I wasn't going to let those girls get my man either. Nope. You're not winning the fucking band game, honey. I'm the queen. You're only pawns. So we go back to Glenn's room. And he's just like kind of bouncing off the walls and trying to get me, the whole time he's trying to get me to do a line with him. I do not do cocaine. It's not my thing. Plus this is driving me nuts because John just died of cocaine, and the coroner's report had not been released yet, but the drug report had already been released that said John died of exasperation from cocaine and a bad heart. This is his good friend. They've known each other for decades. So I'm getting pissed off at that because he's still doing the coke, but he doesn't know. And we get in the room and we're going at it. The clothes are coming off. He's going down on me. He's really good. So we're getting at it, right? Then he jumps up off the bed, runs over to the table. He's like, come here, love. Come here, baby. Come here, Allison. Come here, baby. I'm like, what do you want? And he turns around in his very, his soldier at full salute had a line of cocaine chopped out on it. He's like, baby, he's like, you love my cock so much. He's like, I figured you would do the cocaine off of there. I don't care how much I love your cock. I'm not doing cocaine off of it. I didn't say that. So I just kneeled down, got in front of him, put my hands on his hips like I was going to pleasure him like no tomorrow. But instead, I grabbed his cock, and I huffed, and I puffed, and I blew the cocaine off. Got up, went in the bathroom, got a wet wash rag, cleaned his dick off. I said, are we done with the cocaine? I said, please, don't make me do this. Don't make me do a drug I don't want to do. So Glenn backs off. We get back in the bed. We spend the next couple of hours. He's amazing. I love, like I said, still to this day. Thank you to whoever got him to go down on women at the age of 50, because, whoo, daddy. So we finish everything. The Who's Your Daddy, but that's not why it's the Who's Your Daddy cocktail. We're not there yet. So we're laying in bed afterwards, and he's like, and we're talking, just, catching up, and he's like, I'm really sorry, I was kind of a dick. Your friend was right. You know, he was telling me that Cousin Amy was right, that he was being a dick. It was just the cocaine. He won't ever do it. But why was I so mad about the cocaine? He asked me. And this time I had it up to here with the goddamn cocaine up to here. So I just stopped and I said, because I don't want to wake up to another dead rock star. Glenn just stopped. And I mean, I'm laying here in this arm and got my head right here, and he's got his arm around me and my legs kicked over him, and he just sort of stops and he was like, what? He's like, is that you with John? I said, yeah. Because I was still hurting from that, and I was still hiding, and I thought things had calmed down, but I didn't know what was coming, but it was still very painful to me at that moment in time. And so Glenn just stopped, and he could have been a total asshole about it. There's two routes to take, asshole or gentleman. And I give him credit where credit is due. He was a total gentleman. First thing he said was, holy shit. He's like, are you okay? Yeah. So I'm as okay as I can get. I said, it's been tough, trying to hide out and stuff. And he's like, and I totally respect you. He's like, you haven't gone to the press. I'm like, no, and I don't want to. He's like, baby, he's like, I so respect you for that. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry what you're going through. And he's like, I hope it's, and I'm like, I think things have calmed down. He's like, yeah, probably. It's been, 3 months? I'm like, yeah, about 2. Yeah. No. Maybe it was the end of August. I can't remember. Anyway, so it hadn't been that long, and he was really awesome to me the rest of the night. So we just go to sleep, wake up, do the morning thing that I love to do first thing in the morning. And the phone rings. My cell phone rings, which is sitting, and I pick it up. It's Cousin Amy. She's like, want to go to breakfast? I'm like, yeah, let's go to breakfast. And Glenn gets all excited, like he's going to go to breakfast with us. Nope. I'm like, so I start getting dressed. He's like, well, who's that? I'm like, that was Amy. I'm like, we're going to go meet at Mr. Lucky's for breakfast. I said, what time should I be back here? Oh. Okay, I thought we might go to breakfast. I'm like, no, I said, Cousin Amy's going out of town, so this is my last day, for a few weeks to go out to breakfast with her, if you don't mind. I lied, but just had to let the poor boy down gently. So Cousin Amy we go out to breakfast. Again, she tells me how much she hates Glenn, but I told her I'm not going to let those bitches win. Fuck that. I'm winning the band game. I win the band game every time. Because Glenn had already had my blowjob too, so he wasn't willing to give that up either. So, anyway, and Glenn and I had been up all night long. Poor Ripper was in the room next to us, and that's all he heard all night long was Glenn and I just going at it. And I forgot to say this. After Glenn and I were done doing our thing and I told him about John, he got up, took the rest of the cocaine, and flushed it down the toilet. And that was the last time that man ever did cocaine. Good. I'm glad I made him stop, because you're 50 fucking years old. Get over it. We have to let some things go from our wild rock and roll party days. So let that go. It's just cocaine. Even Lars Ulrich has let it go. So anyway, I get back later in the day. Glenn is extremely tired. They're doing sound check. So I'm going through the casino part of the Mandalay Bay to the House of Blues where Judas Priest is playing. And where they were doing sound check, because I just called Glenn. He's like, yeah, we're doing sound check. And he was like, God, I've been sleeping because we got no sleep. Ripper was complaining because he got no sleep because all he could hear was Glenn and I. And then as I'm walking towards the House of Blues entrance, the backstage entrance, through the lobby, to the corner, out of the corner of my eye, I see Glenn in the gift shop. And so right as I'm walking up to him, he's talking to a sales girl. Right as I walk up, the sales girl turns around and walks away. So I walk up, we give each other a kiss, he gives me a hug, he puts his arm around me, and we're just standing there talking. He's like, God, he's like, I'm so hungover. He's like, mind if we just go upstairs and take a nap? And I'm like, no, that's all good. We can order room service, whatever. And right then, Glenn was buying souvenirs for his son and daughter. And he was buying T-shirts for the House of Blues for Las Vegas son and daughter. So as the sales girl comes up, and she was so sweet, she's like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "Is this your daughter?" I mean, she doesn't notice his arms around each other, you know, in a more romantic way. And she's like, "Oh my God, is this your daughter?" She's like, "Oh, she's so beautiful." She's like, "You're gorgeous." She's like, "Oh my God." She's like, "I want to see what the mother looks like to have a daughter this gorgeous." Glenn he was so livid, he couldn't even talk. I'm like, "No, I'm his girlfriend." Poor little sales girl. So, the Who's Your Daddy cocktail. Poor little sales girl just was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, it's okay. I mean, I'm 31 years old, a few weeks away from being 32 at this point. I'm being mistaken for one of my boyfriend's daughters." Oh, Glenn did not like that. And he couldn't be mad because she was a sweet girl and she was so nice helping him. So he just kind of was like, "Can I just pay for this?" We leave, and he was really nice. He's like, "Yeah, have a great day." So we leave, you know, holding hands, go upstairs, go to sleep. Not the end of the story. Like I said in the first vlog about Glenn, oh my God, this man drives me crazy. So we go upstairs, we sleep, get some dinner, whatever. While they're getting ready, because there's not a whole lot of room in the dressing rooms. There's not separate dressing rooms. At the House of Blues, pretty much the dressing rooms are off the back of the stage. And there's headliner and opening band. That's it. There's not a bunch of different dressing rooms for all the guys to be in. So instead of being in the dressing room, I'm out. Cousin Amy comes out. I run into my friend Oris. We watch the show. I'm watching some girl at the front of the stage thinking Glenn's all blowing her kisses and she's blowing back. I'm like, "Dude, he can't see you. He thinks he's blowing them at me, but he can't even see me. He's just guessing it's me." Because I was standing on his side of the stage out in the front. I didn't want to stand on the side. There wasn't a lot of room. And Cousin Amy and I were just out there drinking, talking to Oris, my friend Kyle, and everybody else. So after the show, I go to the side of the stage. Well, they close the curtains. I go to the stage, and I'm waiting for Glenn. As I'm walking back, the security guard, I didn't have my pass on me. It was on my purse. He's like, "Show me your pass." I'm like, and Cousin Amy, she's like, "She's with Glenn." One of the roadies who didn't know me turns around. "Oh, are you Natalie?" Excuse me? No, fuck no. I'm not motherfucking Natalie. I said, "I'm Allison." Oh shit. So he kind of like cowered down. He's like, "So good to meet you, love. Give me kisses." I'm like, don't even. And right then, Glenn was coming from the dressing room across the stage to the side of the stage I was on. And because they were going to do a meet and greet, because at the House of Blues, they just walked out to that side of the stage area for the after show and signed some passes. Well, he goes out there, and guess who? And the door shuts, and then about 2 minutes later, I see it open, and guess who comes walking through? Natalie and her fucking friends. Wearing their granny heels and still like Forever 21 crap. And she comes up and she tries to give me a hug, and I'm like, "Get off of me." I was like, "Get off of me." I seriously hissed at her. I was so pissed. I was so beyond furious. So, Cousin Amy, like, took her by the shoulder, and she's like, "If I were you, I would stay way far away from the both of us." She's like, "You are a disgraceful little fucking tramp. Get the fuck out." I was like, "Yay, you go, Cousin Amy." I mean, this girl's kicked boyfriends of mine in the head. She doesn't take any. She vicious. I love her that way, though. I wouldn't change Cousin Amy for the world. But so then Glenn comes after doing the meet and creep, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just talking to her. She works for a golf club company. I'm just talking to her about golf clubs." Are you then? I said, well, you can have that conversation here. You don't need to go to have a drink. Because she was saying how they were going to go have a drink after the show. No, you're not. No, the fuck you're not. So, while he goes back out and does more meet and creep, one of the roadies Walt comes and gets her the fuck away from me. Takes her upstairs. I watched him take her upstairs. I know for a fact Glenn is doing an interview and a meet and creep. So he has another roadie take us out to one of the band buses. They have a plane, but sometimes they use the buses. So we go out to the bus. And that tour bus, it's a new tour bus driver. He has no clue who the fuck I am. Cousin Amy and I, so roadie just puts us on there. Tour manager puts us on there and says, hey, these girls, are waiting. These girls need to wait on the bus. So this bus driver just starts a bragging and a talking and brings out a camera and a couple stuffed fish. He's like, yeah, all the pretty girls that get on the bus. He's like, you should be taking pictures, gets us drinks and stuff. I'm like, I've been on this bus before, dude. You're new here, not me. And I'm not saying a word. No, Cousin Amy, she goes, oh, let me see these pictures. So Amy grabs the camera, scrolling through, and she starts deleting all the fishy pictures of naked girls holding these fish. Doing things with the fish. Letting KK and Glenn stuff these fishes everywhere. Pulling a mock Led Zeppelin in Seattle incident. Mud shark. So she starts deleting them. And he's like, do you girls want to take a picture with the fish? Yeah. As a matter of fact, I motherfucking do. We didn't go topless or anything. We just grabbed the fish. We both kind of acted like we were kissing it. I did this when the picture was taken. He's like, oh, we should take another one. I said, no, go ahead. Leave that there. Go ahead. Leave that there. It's about 20 minutes later. So about 5 minutes after this picture was taken, the guy's all trying to still talk us into, and he's bragging about all the women on the bus. Out comes Walt, and he's like, hey, opens the door. He's like, hey, Glenn said he's ready to go. I'm like, okay. Tour bus driver just went pale. He's like, you're with Glenn? I'm like, yeah, I'm Allison. Nice to meet you. Oh, shit. Because he just gave away what they were doing with that tour bus, because they don't ever ride it from gig to gig. They just use it to play with starfuckers and back lounge Betties on. I have no room to talk. I just fucked his best friend and told him about it because his best friend died next to me. So, yeah, Glenn and I went to bed. I had walked in. While I was waiting for Glenn to grab his stuff, I saw my friend Oris. We were sitting there talking, and he's like, why are you so pissed? Because Oris has known me since I was 17. He knows when I'm pissed. I can have a biggest smile on my face, and Oris will know. Oh, I feel sorry for who's on the receiving end of that. So I tell him about this Natalie. He's like, wait, that girl with this and this and that at the Hard Rock last night? Because Oris was there. I was like, yeah, that one. He's like, oh. He's like, I fucked her last night. He's like, I'm going to rip up her number because of that. He's like, she wasn't that good anyway. I love you, Oris. So, yeah. So she just fucked Oris, whoever would have. And I love Oris. Oris has dated some beautiful women, a couple friends of mine. He doesn't settle for any scrap, but he's not going to deal with starfuckers either. And he knew right then and there what she was. So Glenn and I, we go to bed, do our things, wake up the next day. And he leaves, goes on to the next show. And I would see him a few more times. But we'll get into that in some more vlogs because things do not end pretty between Glenn and I. He's a weak-ass son of a bitch. I don't date weak men with insecure egos. So, there you go. That's not the second time, but the second time I'm telling you guys about Glenn Raymond Tipton of Judas Priest. Boy, wasn't that fun. Yeah. I ended up seeing that Natalie girl at the Hard Rock about a week and a half later because I was going out to see Glenn again. And I was also going to England at the same time. I would see Glenn in England, but he wasn't the reason I was going to England. I had a photo shoot to do with Loaded magazine. So I saw her a week later at the Hard Rock, and I happened to be talking to the head of the VIP and the head of security, Frank. Jimmy was the head of the VIP. Frank at the time was head of security. I see her come in, and she just kind of walks by me, and she's like, oh, hey, trying to kiss ass, but trying to, I'm like, yeah. I said, I heard you hooked up with Doris. How was that? She just stopped and looked at me. I said, you ever cross me again, bitch? I said, I will ruin you in this motherfucking town. And I told Frank and them what was, and she was standing right there. I'm like that. Remember that night we were just talking about with Glenn? Because they thought it was funny that I was about ready to kill. Oh God, it looks like I picked my nose. I didn't. But they had seen me with many rock stars, Vinnie Paul, Steve Jones, quite a few others. But they had never seen me pissed like that at any rock star. So they thought, the security guard thought it was hilarious, the head of security. So when they saw who that girl was, she was 86 from the Hard Rock. Because they don't want to upset the two women that have been going there for 8 years, 9 years almost, however many years I've been there. We were at that bar all the time, so of course they had our backs. So Natalie got hers and didn't get hers. I won the band game. Anyway, so there you guys go. It seems like a bitchy cocktails and rocktails. I'm not that bitchy, but don't step on my toes. Don't be coming across as some fake-ass, kiss-ass bitch. You want to ask me what I'm doing with Glenn? That's fine. You be straight and cool with me. I'm cool with you. I'll respect any woman that comes up and has a normal conversation with me, not one that pussyfoots around. And I'm not putting up with the bullshit that Glenn did either. Ever. No self-respecting road wife / groupie will. So there you guys go. There's my cocktails and rocktails for the week. Hope you had a good laugh with this. It wasn't as much fun as him going down on me in the truck while I was driving, but we still had a good time in between the sheets at least. So, alright guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button. Hit the share, spread me like everybody else. Want to thank you guys so much for all the cool support you guys have been giving me. I had a really hard time with someone complaining about a video here. I'm going to tell you which one it is because some of you will know who it is. It was about the difference between groupies in the 70s and LA groupies, those ones. So wasn't sure what I was going to do to continue because I couldn't post one day, so I flipped out. But Backstage Bimbo TV is not going anywhere. And I just want to thank everybody that I meet down in the comments that are here doing the live chats. I have one premiering right now, but I'm filming, so I'm sorry I couldn't be on the live chats today for my Viva Las Vegas vlog. All right? So again, thank you guys for all the amazing support. Thank you for subscribing and for getting me out there. I really appreciate you guys, and I'm so excited to meet so many amazing people. Do not be afraid to ever contact me on my social media and ask me questions. I'm always happy to answer. All right? So, and don't feel bad for asking questions. It's no big deal. All right. Thanks again, you guys, for tuning in, for helping spread me. Backstage Bimbo TV is about to take off. There's going to be some really cool shit happening. So tune in. All right, guys. We will see you on the flip side. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like. Hit my bells. See you next week for some more cocktails and rocktails. Cheers, big ears.